Are you ready to kickstart your week with some dirt-slinging and tire-slaying action motorsports radio that packs the biggest gas?
Hi, Ken Block here.
Hey, my name's Jolene Van Vliet.
What's up, Brian Deegan here.
Vaughn Ginn Jr. here.
They've been thrown into one show that has broken down the barriers of what a motorsports radio show should be. This is the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, with support from General Tire, KMC Wheels, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, Gibson Exhaust, and MTX Audio, with your host, who also happens to spend his weekends flying 800 horsepower trucks through the dirt, Jim Beaver.
When was the last time you saw an off-road or rally driver begging to get behind the wheel of a NASCAR IndyCar? Yep, not happening, but you sure see these pavement racers begging to drive our cars.
And his partner in crime every week, a self-proclaimed Canadian moto chick who was jumping triples and taking podiums before most guys even learned to ride. Amy Hood.
No one knows how to say my last name. Like, is it really that hard? Amy Hood, like I'm from the hood. Don't get it twisted.
Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to join us as we take you through a motorsports ride like no other. Here is the man who carries a steering wheel in one hand and a mic in the other, Jim Beaver.
Good morning and welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. And man, today we are definitely powered by Polaris Razor. We are getting our Razor on today. First guest kicking things off, not only your Lucas Oil Pro Light champ, but the man behind XP1K3, the face of the Razor brand, RJ Anderson, is going to be calling in to the show. XP1K3, that viral video phenomenon, dropped this Saturday night at Camp Razor out at Glamis. Everybody got a sneak peek. The actual global debut of it is tomorrow, Tuesday. So we're going to have the lowdown, all the info on XP1K3 with RJ Anderson. And not only that, we got Matt Martelli, one of the men behind the movie from Mad Media. He's going to be on the line with RJ as well. Should be a great interview. Two of my good friends, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And we're going to talk a whole lot of Razors, off-road, you name it. It's going to be fun. And then we've got none other than Kristen Kenny, Red Bull GRC pit reporter, TV personality, media personality. You've seen her on NBC. You're going to have her on the Down and Dirty Radio Show today. Kristen Kenny going to be calling in. We're going to be talking GRC, the finale coming up in Vegas, kicking off tomorrow. That's going to be a great interview with Kristen. Always fun to have her on air. And then hour number 2, we're going to have a bunch of interviews that I did out at Camp Razor at Glamis and the Terracross Championship, tying in Terracross Radio, Camp Razor, a bunch of interviews. We've got Sarah Price, newly crowned Terracross Women's Champ, interview with her. We've got FMX legend Ronnie Faisst. We got Cody Raiders, your Lucas Oil UTV champ. We got Brandon Sims, your UTV world champ. We got Joe Duncan, who was the man behind the Terracross series. Lots of great interviews, all that packed into hour number 2. And then Amy Hood, she's going to cap off the show just like she does each and every week. We're going to be talking some 2-wheels, some 4-wheels, some UTVs, some Halloween, some 2016, and lots of news, rumors, and rumblings coming out of the 2-wheel community. Amy Hood is going to have you handled the last 30 minutes of the show. So, man, I got to tell you, we are cramming a ton in. Not only that, we told you Red Bull GRC, that's coming up, that finale this week in Vegas, Tuesday, Wednesday, going to be live streamed at Red Bull TV. Got to give a big shout out to our friends at Red Bull for making that happen. But the SEMA show happening in Vegas, the biggest automotive gathering in the world, happening this week in Las Vegas. I'll be out there later on this week. Kind of take everything in. I've got a Razor build. A lot of you guys have been hearing about this awesome Razor build that I've been doing with Pro Armor. Well, that is going to be on display at the SEMA show as well. But right now, our first caller, Matt Martelli, joining me. How's everything going, Matt?
Great. Just charging out to SEMA as we speak, so no rest for the wicked here.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I've had a ton of stuff and a ton of projects going on, but made my way out to Camp Razor. I got SEMA later this week. It's like, man, bunch of great events all up into one. It makes for a pretty hectic week and a half.
Yeah, no, totally. Camp Razor was massive. It went off spectacularly, and it was a great great, well-received first premiere for XP1K3. So I think everybody was pretty stoked and pretty shocked at what we were able to achieve.
Yeah, and, to be honest with you, I haven't seen it yet, so we're going to be talking about that when RJ calls in a minute, and I'm kind of anxious to see how that premiere went. But talking about Camp RZR, I mean, you guys have here's RJ right now, so we'll put him on the spot as well. But RJ, welcome to the show, joining Jim Beaver and Matt Martelli. How's everything going, buddy?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Recovering, man.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, Matt and I were just talking about, the debut there, XP1K3 out at Camp RZR. I haven't seen it yet. I had to check out early. I wasn't even racing Terracross this weekend. I was just out there Friday and did a few things for Polaris. But, how was the debut out there at Glamis, XP1K3? I mean, I saw an overhead picture, I think, and it just looked like a massive crowd to watch that drop.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the way Camp RZR is growing every year is just insane to see. And when we got up on the stage and looked out over the sea of people, it was just like, holy cow, that's impressive how many people came just to see the premiere and try to win a brand new RZR. And it was awesome that Polaris gave 4 of those out. So yeah, the crowd, it was awesome hearing their reactions and just them getting to be a part of that special moment, seeing the premiere for the first time before it went live.
Yeah. Well, and Matt, I mean, you and your brother have been, you've been in the film industry for a long time. I mean, you guys have, had numerous viral videos to your credit, but XP1K, I mean, did you realize the reception? I mean, when you guys and RJ got together on this project, I mean, RZRs were out there, but, they were still, the UTV movement was still, still kind of gathering some steam. I mean, did you guys have any idea this thing would blow into what we're at now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, machines, and Jim, you test as you race trucks. So, driven trucks, 4s, pretty much every type of vehicle on the planet, maybe other than a Formula One car. And these are remarkable little machines. So, the goal is always to share that with everybody, and get people in machines to just have fun. So I think, we did think it was going to be giant. And frankly, I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. I think that, when you have a talent like RJ, it makes our job a lot easier. I mean, 90% of what we're doing is completely skill related. And then the other part of it is psychological. So, when we're asking RJ to do stuff, most of the time he looks at me and goes, "Are you crazy?" And I totally get it, but, he always sacks up and does it. And, it's a combination of his skill set and his cojones, really. I mean, some of the stuff that we did in this in this third one, it's just, it's bonkers. I mean, we have to keep raising the level so high. It's crazy. I mean, we're starting to do stuff that I believe that I don't even know that a Pro 4 would make it because of the weight to suspension ratio. So, yeah, I mean, I always thought this was going to be huge. I really think that we have a long ways to go, for UTVs to be as big as they can be in every corner of the planet.
Yeah. Well, RJ, I mean, and speaking of that, I know I've had this conversation with you and Matt and Joey D separately, but, at some point, I mean, I think, I can't remember if it was you or Joey D, but they're like, man, sometimes we think the Martellis are trying to kill RJ, but have you ever done one of these, done something in one of these films and, and after, it got over with, you're like, man, I can't believe I just did that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what makes it all work, between their creativity and the way Matt sees things, when I get in a RZR, the last thing I think about is some of these things that Matt dreams up. But that's what's awesome is when Matt sees a RZR, he sees the potential in the car and our team guys that are filming it and me and driving it. So I think that's what really makes it all work is 99.9% of the population would never think of doing these things, and we have the right group of people together that are trying to push it and trying to put UTVs out there and show, even though not everyone's going to drive it like that, what they are capable of actually doing.
Yeah. Well, and Matt, I mean, a lot that goes into this. I mean, you speak to RJ's driving talent, and and I've had the opportunity to race against him now in Terracross, and I'm figuring that series out. But just seeing what he can do behind the wheel of one of these is remarkable. But a lot goes into this film, not only RJ and the vehicle, but the backdrop. And you guys have 3 times now have just absolutely knocked it out of the park with a backdrop. I mean, what goes into trying to find these locations? I mean, and these aren't places that you just run across every day. I mean, how do you guys do your research and actually find these places to put these, to film these projects?
Well, we're looking for stuff like this pretty much 24/7, so that's part of it. But the other part of it is my brother and my other brother, Joey D. We're just always on the hunt for this. So we're always coming up with, concepts that would apply to this and would apply to other projects. So, what I always describe it as is it's like a skateboard film for cars. And so, we drive around and travel all over the world, and we look at stuff and we go, oh, that's a cool jump, or look at that gap. And, so that's kind of, our mode all the time. So, Michigan that had a lot of abandoned warehouses and train yards, and we always thought that would be a cool setting. So in our research, we found Youngstown, Ohio, which was at one point the largest producer of steel in the world, and so it has a great backdrop of these apocalyptic, decaying buildings in this just crazy environment. And for us, there's no better way to showcase how gnarly the stunts are and how much skill RJ has by making him jump over an acid bath or through a building or what have you. So it's like we just want to explain to people how difficult what he's doing is, and it's all about the consequences. It's like if it's a nice little jump that anybody can do, then it's not cool. So that's kind of really our mode when we're looking for places, and we're constantly on the hunt. I have 2 spots that I'm going to fly out, and a normal person would go take a vacation. I'm flying out to look at locations, but don't tell my girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly, right? Well, talking about that, I mean, RJ, I know, the actual, razors you drive, it seems like to me, I'm kind of, I'm a racer, so, I see what you do and the film's great and everything, but I like seeing, these razors that you guys come up with. I mean, starting with the first one, I mean, you guys set the bar super high with the builds you guys did. And I know you actually built 2 of them, I mean, and it seems like, it's steamrolled from there. But, now you've got the new turbo platform, which opens up, a ton of new opportunities. But, how do you decide, I mean, going into this, what you guys are going to do as far as the build goes? I mean, do you scout out the location and go, all right, this is the type of razor we need, or we need it set up to do these type of things? I mean, or do you guys just go out and build the craziest builds you can think of, and it just, works for everything?
Yeah, that's actually something that I don't have much role in, Matt, and Joey D is the one who actually handles the builds of the cars. And yeah, the goal is to just build. The car is part of the video, so building the best car and the coolest car and making it look good in the environment that we're shooting it in is the goal, and to make people want to do those upgrades to their car, and see how far you can keep pushing it and doing all these different things from taking a stock car that's already killer and just putting everyone's own creative touch on it.
Yeah. Well, and talk about the turbo platform a bit, because I'd been in one before, but, this last Friday out at Glamis, I had a project going with Polaris, and, they gave me one, and we did a little bit of filming afterwards, and, I got to spend like 3 or 4 hours out in the dunes in one of these new turbos, and, I mean, to me, I've spent most of my time in the 1000s. I mean, it was just revolutionary to really be able to push that car. I mean, how's it been for you? And, I mean, with this build and just in every day, I mean, to me, it's opened up so many possibilities, with this new turbo engine.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, some of the stunts we were doing, I wouldn't have been able to pull off without the extra power of the new turbo platform. So it's crazy how just to see since 2008 when the first Razor came out, and now being in 2015 with the the Razor XP Turbo. It's like the leaps and bounds that's happened is just crazy to see. And now with it having over 140 horsepower, I mean, it's just crazy to have that light of a car that you can put your family in and go have fun in the dunes is, I mean, that in itself is crazy. And so to take it to a race application and even an X21K platform was huge for us.
Yeah. Well, and Matt, I mean, you know, you guys, you and I have had this conversation for 4 years, and you know, and I was, you know, I've been a huge supporter of the UTV industry, but I mean, you and Joey D, I mean, you guys have been one of the driving forces, you know, at least, you know, in the off-road community about, you know, integrating these things and getting drivers into them. And I know, you know, you guys were, you know, kind of the first ones that, you know, got me into them. And you know, how have you seen these? I mean, revolutionize our industry. I mean, on the racing side, I mean, it's one of our biggest classes now. You know, 5-6 years ago, they were almost laughed at. Now, I mean, these things are going faster than a lot of the traditional four-wheel vehicles. I mean, now we've got guys like Larry Ragland, who's, you know, a Hall of Fame legend, one of the greatest guys to ever touch a steering wheel, and he's racing one of the best in the desert.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a testament to the platform, and it's evolving. And, you know, back to, you know, your comment about the turbo platform, I mean, you got to realize, like, these are 2-cylinder engines. So, you know, the one that was built, you know, for us for the XG1K3 car was over 200 horsepower. I mean, that's nuts. So, you know, it's a extreme amount of horsepower, you know, with 18 inches or 16 inches of travel, you know, so you really have, you know, remarkable machines. But to me, this is really simple. It's you know, we're a drug dealer, and the drug we're dealing is called adrenaline, and you get it by off-roading. And this, you know, the Polaris Razor is the perfect gateway drug. You know, you don't have to be a gnarly driver or have a bunch of experience. You just have to get in it and go for a ride, and you're going to have fun. And when you realize that fun is like a couple $100 a month, like you can have that much fun, it's a pretty good deal, you know? So, you know, I think it's going to continue to grow and bring more and more people into off-road, because you know how it is. When you get that stoke, you're like, man, this is unbelievable, and I just want to do this all the time, you know? So it's grown exponentially, but I still think it has a long ways to go, and I'm looking forward to the future. I mean, yeah, right now at the Mint 400, it is our biggest class, and it's pushing the limits so far that, you know, we are looking at adding another day to accommodate more racers for the Mint. And same thing with the UTV World Championship. So, you know, I think it's great. It gets people out of the stands and off the couch and into the vehicles. And whether you race or whether you just ride for fun, it really doesn't matter. Just go try them. You're going to have a blast.
Yeah, you know, I can definitely attest to that. I mean, it seems like, you know, I get the rare opportunity to drive trophy trucks quite frequently, but you know, I jump in a Razor, and to be honest with you, I can have just as much fun going out in the desert in one of those as I can in the trophy truck, and it's a whole lot cheaper. So I can totally attest to what you're saying, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, I mean, with X31K3, you know, this whole thing is about showing people what's possible. And like RJ said, we don't expect people to go out and do these crazy stunts. We're really just showcasing what the actual capabilities are. You know, we just want people to go out and have fun, you know, and you know, get into off-roading. It's a great family-oriented sport, and, you know, it's a great, you know, adrenaline rush. And fortunately for us, we get to do it all the time.
Yeah. Well, and RJ, I mean, you know, you obviously, you know, you've got, you know, your short course career going on, and you know, just clinched up the Pro Light Championship, you know, and from what I understand, you're moving strictly into Pro 2 for next year. We'll talk about that in a minute. But, you know, talking about your Razor career, I mean, you know, when you're not in the truck in short course, I mean, you are, you know, in Work Series. I know you've done a little bit of desert racing. I mean, you know, you're running Terracross. I mean, you know, how is that for you, jumping back and forth? I mean, and you know, and did you ever realize, you know, when you started, you know, playing around with UTVs, I mean, you know, you would be defined by, you know, being like the face of the Razor brand?
No, I didn't think it would go like that. But I mean, I think the reason it works so well is because I truly believe in the product, and I don't have to go race Works or Terracross or anything, but I have so much fun doing it. I mean, as much as this will sound weird, the racing a Pro 2 and running an off-road team is a job, and it gets stressful, and there's so many emotions into it. But when I can go just hop in my Razor and pour some 91 pump gas in it and go race and have so much fun and hit jumps and battle with my buddies, it's like that's almost fun for me. I get to get away from the shop and go race, and that's what's awesome, and I love doing it. And I think that's why it works so well, because even when I'm not racing short course Pro 2, I can go out in my Razor and have fun and keep pushing the limits on the track and doing other things in them, and I have fun doing it. Is why I keep continuing to do it.
Yeah. Well, and and how is that for you? I mean, as a training tool, I mean, we know how expensive, whether it be Pro Light or Pro 2, I mean, how expensive every time you turn those things on and you start burning laps at the track, you're burning up dollar bills every time you go around, and do a lap. I mean, how has the Razor been as an outlet for you to, keep your skills on point? I mean, is there a lot that transitions over from you driving those to short course?
I mean, racing is racing. At the end of the day, it takes a certain something to be able to be the winner. At the end, I race the pro class and UTVs, and just the way the drivers have evolved in the last few years is crazy. So every time I get behind the wheel, I'm learning, and I think it does transition. While it's not, a 900 horsepower 2-wheel drive Pro 2 like I race in the Lucas Oil Series, there's still so many things that function. It's still got a steering wheel, it's still got gas brakes. The whole I'm racing in the dirt, so I think it does help. And I start racing the UTVs in January, and the truck stuff doesn't ever start till middle of March. So I think it does transition. I'm out there racing. I'm being competitive. I never turn my brain off from racing, so I think that is an advantage for me when the Lucas Oil season starts back up.
Yeah. Well, and I guess, talking about firing back up in January, but, you don't have much of an off season, but, coming off Pro Light Championship, I know, that's kind of getting shelved. You're going strictly to Pro 2. I mean, what's this off season look like for RJ Anderson?
There's never really an off season. We just call it that because there's no races going on. I mean, between Camp Razor that just went off and a couple other events I got going on, and then the UTV racing picks up in January, and then Frozen Rush, the event I got to do last year, that's the first week after the New Year. So I mean, literally, there's only 2 months, so that's basically just one more month than we get in between a normal round of racing. So it's not much of an off season.
Yeah, for sure. No, I get that. I'm already looking at my schedule in January. Go, man, we're less than 2 months away, and I'm back at it. It's pretty crazy. Matt, going back to you. I mean, XP1K3. I know we had the debut there at Glamis. It's getting ready to drop tomorrow. Give us the details on all that.
Yeah, so it drops tomorrow. XP1K3.com. You can see it there. It'll be up on YouTube, Facebook, the whole planet. Check it out, share it with your friends, and help us spread the word and how awesome off-road racing and UTVs are. So we're excited. We're actually launching it tomorrow morning, and then doing a follow-up launch at the BF Goodrich booth at SEMA. RJ will be there, signing autographs, talking about it. The car will be there as well, and we're doing a T-shirt giveaway. If you're at SEMA, come by. All you have to do is take a photo and post it and tag it, and you get a free T-shirt.
Nice. And I know you guys were giving them away at Glamis too, and T-shirts are definitely solid shirts. They're not the cheap giveaway stuff that normally people give out, right?
Yeah, no, we're all about quality. We want you to wear it for the next 10 years. So, no, they're really nice shirts, equivalent of like a $20 or $30 shirt. So, we just want to give back some love. We've been getting a lot of love. We're, between the two previous videos, we're about 16 million aggregate views. So we're pretty stoked on that. We just want to continue to grow it and share it with new people.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time to call in. We'll definitely have to head out to SEMA sometime this week. Don't know which day yet, but we'll definitely have to swing by and see you guys and grab a drink sometime.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, RJ.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Matt.
I'll be there.
Yep, sounds good, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
All right, take it easy, guys. All right, that was Matt Martelli, RJ Anderson, calling in to talk a little XP1K3 dropping tomorrow. I definitely want to check that out. It's going to be all over Facebook. You know how this deal goes. I mean, I can tell you where to go find it, but the shares are going to be through the roof. It's going to be real easy to find. XP1K3 dropping tomorrow. Man, I can't wait to see this. Like I said, they had a teaser, I guess the initial debut out there at Camp Razor on the Jumbotron. People packed in. They were giving away some XP turbos. People packed in to see it. And I wasn't out there. I missed that. It was kind of a one-off sneak peek, but it drops tomorrow, and I will definitely be tuned in to check that out. Can't wait to see it. But, yeah, we are going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, Kristen Kenny, she's going to be calling in. We are going to be talking some GRC SEMA Global Rallycross finale coming up. So definitely looking forward to that. Stay tuned for more here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When R.J. Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning Razor XP1000. R.J. is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris Razors to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris Razors RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris Razor vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XD Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XD Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance, rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports. The sound of the racetrack. And the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
American rock and roll legend Chubby Checker, the one and only, live at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Chubby Checker, live in the Blue Water Showroom, Saturday, November 21st. Don't miss Chubby Checker.
It's party time! Get up!
Tickets on sale now. $45 general admission, VIP $55. Online at BlueWaterFun.com or at the gift shop. Chubby Checker live November 21st at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. And, man, talk about a fun way to kick off the show. R.J. Anderson, Mr. XP1K3, that is, and Matt Martelli, good friend of mine. Both of them good friends of mine. And, man, talk about fun time. And R.J., got to give him a little credit. He's the Polaris Razor 170 champ for another year. Those of you who haven't been out to Camp Razor don't know what I'm talking about. You're missing out. It's probably the most fun race you'll see all year long. You get a bunch of Polaris Razor athletes and brand ambassadors and personalities and throw them in the Razor 170s. And those who don't know what a Razor 170 is, we're talking the little kids 170, the stuff you throw your, I guess I would throw my 6-year-old in, but I don't know. I may be a little bit different than you. I guess probably meant for kids maybe 10, 12, but anyways, the Razor 170, microscopic little razors with 170cc engines, and the cages are small. Everything about them small, and you get these guys. I mean, I remember last year Travis Pastrana was out there, and he raced one, and head sticking out of the top of the roll cage. It's that comedic, right? And there's this track it's a miniaturized track, almost like a miniaturized Terracross track with all these jumps and bumps and stuff like that, and it's absolute chaos. Anything goes racing, right? I mean, bashing, banging. Literally, guys are stopping and picking up hay bales and throwing them at each other to block everybody's. It's absolute shenanigans. It's hilarious. I wish somebody'd filmed the whole thing in its entirety. Somebody had to have this year and posted it online. But Razor 170 races this year, they literally, I guess they had paint cannons and they were shooting paint at guys. And I mean, it was just absolute pure and utter chaos. But yeah, RJ is your 170 champ for this year. I can't even tell you who was a 170 champ last year. I really don't know. May have been Pastrana or Menzies. I don't know. I can't remember. But literally, it's absolute tons of fun. RJ was the 170 champ out at Camp Razor this year, and it's a long-standing deal, and it always comes back because it's absolute fan favorite. People literally they wait all weekend long to see this Razor 170 race just because it's just pure comedy. So congrats goes out to RJ on that. He gets to wear the crown as the Razor 170 champ for another year, along with his pro-light Lucas crown. So, yeah, I guess that would be the highlight of his career. You ask Levi LaValle, he says the highlight of his UTV racing career at this point is would be his podium in the Razor 170 races. So, yeah, there you go. But, right now, waiting on Kristen Kenny to call into the show. We're going to talk some Red Bull Global Rallycross. That going down this week. I guess it's third year in a row, I believe, that it's there. Kind of ties in with the SEMA show. Not a formal part of SEMA, but it's there. Always close and always good racing. But right now, joined on the line by Kristen Kenny from Red Bull Global Rallycross. How's everything going, Kristen?
Hey, Jim. Everything's going great. I'm actually en route to the airport to head to Vegas.
Nice. Yeah, I was just saying, I mean, this event, I know you've been with the series a couple years. I've been to every Vegas event, going back to the one at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I've never missed a GRC event in Vegas, but it always makes for some of the best racing all year long for some reason. Something about Vegas and being the last race of the year, but it makes for great racing.
I know. It always works out that way. I mean, we saw that back in 2013. Last year was exciting, and this year's going to be incredible. I can't wait to see what Volkswagen brings, and it'll really be between Volkswagen and Ford for the Manufacturers' Championship. Yeah,
well, and I think that's what's cool. I mean, it seems like it's the past couple of years, the championship's been on the line there at SEMA. I mean, I remember back, what was it, Tanner Faust and Deegan a few years back, and then last year it was Block and Yoni, and this year we've got Faust and Scott. I mean, it just seems like, champions are crowned there, and it's always a shootout,
Yeah, how cool is that every year it really comes down to the wire, and this year is really cool because it's the teammates, the Volkswagen duo. So, I mean, it looks like everything's going to be in Scott's favor. I mean, he has to he has to definitely finish and finish, I think, pretty consistently this weekend. But Tanner does have a shot because, as we know, in Rallycross, anything can happen. So it could, you never know. Tanner could take it if Scott has a really bad weekend.
Yeah, and like I've said before, I think, we had Chris on air, I believe it was last week, and we were kind of talking about this. But, if I had to pick somebody that was backed into a corner with his back up against the wall, it would be Tanner Faust. I mean, he's got more championships than anybody in series history. I mean, wins, he's right up there with the leaders. I mean, he literally, Tanner is he's something special. If anybody can pull a rabbit out of his hat in Vegas, it's going to be Tanner.
Yeah, that's so true. Exactly. Yeah, he's a guy that's been here before, and he's won multiple times our series championship. So he knows how to win. And then you have Scott, who has really he had a great start to his year last year. And then unfortunately, because I think it was a development year for the Beatles, and they really went through a lot, getting this car ready and competitive, and it's just amazing to see what Scott's been able to do now halfway through the season to come back, and especially with Tanner, because you looked at the beginning of the season and it looked like it was all in favor of Ken Block. Everything was going his way, and then we saw that change right in LA once we hit the LA race, and Volkswagen really came out onto the scene then, winning back-to-back at that doubleheader weekend. But I think Scott, I mean, he's a guy who's really exciting because he likes to be in the lead, and in the points lead, like that's how he prefers it, where some guys like to be the ones who are hunting down everybody else. So he likes to be hunted, and I mean, he is just the most consistent driver. He's amazing. He's just so great. And this year he's been doing exceptionally well. So given the fact that the start of the year was pretty rough for Volkswagen.
Yeah, and you got to give credit to Volkswagen. I mean, a lot of manufacturers go into a motorsport, and and it takes them a few years to get their feet underneath them and be competitive. I mean, Volkswagen out of the box, just came in and said, no, we're here to play, and I think a lot of that has to do with the two drivers they brought in. A lot of it has to do with Andretti, but I mean, even all that being said, you would have still thought there would be a learning curve, and it seems like there really hasn't been with Volkswagen,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they came out onto the scene last year with the Beetle, it was the Polo, but and they did so well with that old equipment at the start of the season. Then they introduced the Beetles and had to face a little bit of development and some difficulties there But they came back this year and have been on fire since LA. It's so cool. And I think it's just so neat that it's the two teammates battling for this championship. It's really exciting. I mean, I wonder how that dynamic will be in the pit.
Yeah,
I'll have to figure that out when I'm in there.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was thinking about. Here's a guy, they share a paddock. I mean, it literally, both of them are true professionals, but if one of them figures something out at the track, a lot of times there's quite a bit of information share within the team. I know, and trying to help each other figure it out. And Scott brings different assets than Tanner does to the team, and you've got to wonder though if that's all out the window at this one, and it's every man for himself,
Right. They played that strategy well in LA and then in Barbados with the 1-2 finish, but I wonder if they'll have that same strategy.
Yeah, it's
heading into this championship. They're probably going all out. So it'll be really interesting. I'm going to have to chat with them about that when I see them together in the pits and kind of get a sense of the energy amongst the team and the drivers. It'll be pretty exciting for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think one guy we failed to mention, and at one point, I mean, he was the true favorite to win the championship, and it's just been another heartbreaking year for Ken Block. But I think going in here, I mean, he's won two Vegas finales in a row. I mean, I think he's going to definitely factor in, and he's racing with a chip on his shoulder, I think.
Oh, for sure he is. It's redemption for him, trying to get back in the mix and finish as best as he can finish. So whether that's second or third, I mean, he's hoping to finish well. He's fifth right now, so that's not good for him. He wants to be higher than fifth. So you look at, he still has a lot to be. He said he has a lot to be proud about the season and the growth that he's had with the car and in our series. He's done so well. I mean, here's a guy who doesn't come from the background that Scott comes from, right? So he's done so well with the limited time that he's really had in this sport. So you do feel for him though, because he had bad luck and a couple errors, and that cost him the championship. So we'll see. He could do really well on this track. This track is definitely fast. They're going to be in sixth gear on two of the straights. It's tight, very, very tight, but we know the Volkswagens do well with this track, and we know the Fords definitely do well with this track. So, but it's going to be tight, and it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, well, and it's quite a bit longer, right? I mean, looking at the course map, I mean, this looks, quite a bit longer than most of the tracks we've seen so far, Barbados aside.
Right. We've had a lot longer tracks this year. So this one, I think, runs a little bit over 0.8, so it's just shy of a mile, but it is long. It does seem long. I haven't physically seen it yet, but the exciting thing, what they did, our track build did, they basically on the front straight, they'll be top speed, heading into turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. They made that section wider so that way it allows better opportunity for passing. And side-by-side action throughout those turns so that it's just not follow the leader. So they did make that section wider, but then it certainly narrows down and gets really tight after, I think, going into turn 4 in that dirt section. Yeah. So that'll be really cool because you'll see that first turn is going to be telling. It's going to be so exciting because the cars will be able to go too wide into that turn. So it'll be fun. Yeah. And they're going fast as heck, so we'll have a hard braking zone there in the turn 1, and we'll see who gets there first.
Yeah. Well, and I know where the venue's at there. It's actually one of my favorite venues that I've ever been to as far as Red Bull GRC events go. I mean, I remember a couple years ago, Block got his very first win there, but it was like, I mean, the track builds there for some reason just look amazing. It was like a miniature Formula One course. Everybody was just, it was a jaw-dropping course. And then I know what they did was they went and extended. I mean, because this is a venue from 2 years ago, I believe, and it literally
right.
where the paddock was, that's all turned into racetrack now. I mean, I'm excited to see it. I think it's just a great place to have a course, and with looking at the layout, I think it's going to lend to some great racing.
It really will. It has everything, and I'm really too excited about. So it's fast, right? But also the dirt section is going to be really technical. So that's going to be really exciting to see, that dirt section heading into the jump, to see who can maintain the momentum through that section to get enough speed going over the jump, as well as the traction. I mean, it's going to be really a lot of quick turns in that dirt section. So we could see some carnage there. And then what's also cool is the Joker, like, we don't do this typically, but like we did in Barbados, it bypasses the jump. So that'll be pretty neat too, but it's very, very tight in that Joker area, with a pretty hard turn. And it enters again into a straightaway coming out. So that transition from the Joker to the straight, we saw what happened with that in Barbados, and there was a lot of bumping and some carnage coming out of that Joker onto that track in Barbados. So I don't know. We'll see if that continues to happen, but that was really exciting. So I think it has everything you want. It's fast, it's technical. It's going to be all out fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tremendous. I'm excited. I mean, we've talked about supercars. I mean, not only that, but Lights finale is shaping up to be an amazing event too.
Yeah, last year we had a champion. We had Mitchell. This year it's coming down to Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, and the racing there, I mean, it's just been phenomenal all year long. I mean, a ton of teams coming in, but I mean, every event it's a crapshoot. I mean, last year you could, it really was down to about two guys who you thought was going to win the event each and every time. But this one, I have no idea. There's 5-6 teams that could all take a victory.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the OMSE obviously looks to be neck and neck, those two drivers from OMSE, but then you have Miles Maroney. I mean, where did this guy come from? He was his first year. Yeah. And how about that? He's sitting back and sitting pretty right there. Pretty impressive, right?
Yeah.
And Bilko's back, so he was racing with us in Barbados. So we do have a lot of new, exciting Lights drivers coming into our series.
Yeah, it is exciting. I mean, these kids. I mean, I can see 4 or 5 of them in the next 2-3 years that could possibly be in supercars. So I mean, it truly is what Red Bull GRC's done. I mean, it truly is creating the future of the series.
It really is. Yeah, Austin Cindric. I mean, he's been incredible this year. He really turned it around from last season. But he's doing a lot of racing. He's getting a lot of seat time. So. Yeah, I mean, I wonder which one will be in supercars next year.
Yeah, for sure. So, talking about the series as a whole this year, I mean, you've been in each and every round. I mean, what are some of the standout moments for you this year?
I think, every race brought something new and exciting. It's so, you can never predict who's going to win, right? You think it's going to be somebody having a great weekend and in the heats and building up to that final. And then all of a sudden in the final, it's just, they lose it or carnage takes them out. I think it's just been, every race has been just unpredictable, right? You have Patrick Sandell, who he would sit pole back-to-back events and then be knocked out of the final because of a crash. It's just nuts. So you never know. And then what we saw with Ken in Barbados, and when he flipped again, who would have predicted that? It's just crazy. I mean, obviously Ken did it there before, but again, we just talked to him on the broadcast about flipping earlier last season, and then he goes back out there and he does it again. I mean, it's just, you never know what's going to happen. It's so exciting around every corner. So I just love every race, what it brings, how it's unpredictable, and you never know.
Yeah, well, I know I've been writing the power rankings for the Red Bull GRC site every event, and it's so hard to write those because it's like somebody gets their momentum going, and then and 2 events later they're smacked back down to earth, and it's so hard to write those because it's like who's got the momentum going right now. You just never can tell, and it makes it tough to write those. And I mean, I think that's really kind of been the telltale for the whole year. I mean, you just never really know who's going to get their momentum going at an event. I mean, obviously right now Tanner's on point, so is it going to be him? You just don't know,
Yeah, I remember first talking to Tanner in Daytona, when he won Daytona, and I asked him, did he ever think he'd actually win the race? Or I think did he win or was he second? I can't remember now. But I know I was interviewing him about, did he ever think he'd get on the podium? And he's like, oh, heck no, because he just had the worst race during the heats that weekend, and then miraculously kept it clean and finished on the podium. So I think he did win. It was a doubleheader. So yeah, I think he won one of those. So it's just, you never know. It's so exciting. And then when Volkswagen got the 1-2 punch, the 1-2 finish for Scott and Tanner in LA, and that shocked everyone as well. And then they did it again. And then they did it in Barbados. So it's so unpredictable. And I remember talking with Scott Speed in Barbados, and he was right behind Ken in the points. Ken had still had the lead. This was the first of the doubleheader weekend. And I asked Scott if he ever thought that considering his road racing background, more of a traditional racer, would ever be battling the championship with Ken Block coming from a rally background. And he said, he knew right then and there. He goes, I'm not worried about Ken. I'm worried about Patrick Sandell. And then as the race unfolded in the final, you saw him and Patrick Sandell right on each other for that first place finish. And that's when Patrick slammed into Scott and was disqualified. But if Patrick would have finished that race, Patrick could be more in the hunt for the first in points, for the points lead.
Yeah, and Patrick's a guy, my heart goes out to him because he's been the past 2 years one of the fastest drivers in the series, and one way or another, luck just hasn't been in Patrick's favor. He's taken a couple of victories, but I mean, here's a guy who I think is so underrated just because he's had such bad luck. But if you look at his times, I mean, to me, he's got, he's a championship caliber driver. He just literally hasn't had the dice roll in his favor.
He did not. He was sitting pole for a while and then just couldn't finish.
Yeah. Well, and looking at a couple of names, I'm just looking at the entry list. A couple of names popping in. I know this is one of the events Deegan is going to run. I mean, Brian is always ridiculously fast. We've got David Higgins coming in. Obviously, he's had a phenomenal year in stage rally, and he's had some successes in GRC in the past. But he's another one to look out for. Just a lot of guys coming in. I mean, Pat Morrow in the Sonic, he's back. It's a stacked grid.
It is going to be a stacked grid. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's the battle for second and third place is pretty much up for grabs between 6-7 guys.
Yep.
It's
a lot of people like to finish on the podium to round out the year. That's for sure. I think it's going to be a shootout. That being said, the cool thing is it dropped. Red Bull TV going to be airing this live. I don't know if it's going to be both Saturday and Sunday, or not Saturday and Sunday. I'm going back to traditional races, but Tuesday and Wednesday, are they going to be airing both days, or is it just going to be the finals on Wednesday? But give us the details. Do you have the details on that?
Right. So it will be a Red Bull TV live broadcast on Red Bull TV, and that is live on Wednesday. So the broadcast will start around 5:30, and they will be, or around, 5:30. So they will be live and covering the whole event. Now, I will be a part of the NBC broadcast, which will air at a later date, the 8th.
Yeah.
And so that's a different airtime. We're on a delay. So, but we will be doing a light show as well on the 11th. So we will be airing it late, so you can watch it live on Red Bull TV on Wednesday.
Nice.
Coming up. Yeah. So, and I think Toby Moody's doing that. Toby Moody's doing the Red Bull TV.
Okay.
We have Ricky Johnson. How cool is that?
Nice.
And Will Christian, pit reporter, who's been roaming the pits with me this season. So they're the Red Bull TV broadcast, and then NBC will be Townsend, Anders. Anders will be roaming the pits with me.
Okay.
for the NBC broadcast, and Lee Diffie. Lee Diffie's back.
Oh, Lee did the. I worked with Lee last year at the finale, so Lee's always solid. And then Toby, obviously Ricky Johnson. We saw him at X Games in an Oldsburg car, so he's familiar with the series. So it sounds like a great lineup, and I'm looking forward to the Red Bull TV live stream. It's going to be awesome to be able to catch that live, and good luck.
It'll be 2 hours of live excitement.
Yeah, exactly. So, thanks for taking the time to call in, Kristen. As always, lots of fun, and we'll have to get you sometime after the finale and kind of wrap up the year.
Perfect. Yes. All right. Well, thanks for having me on, Jim. I'll chat with you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Kristen, and have some fun in Vegas.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. All right. That was Red Bull GRC's Kristen Kenny. You can catch her on NBC with that broadcast. She's the pit reporter, getting all the dirty details from the paddock area in between the heats and the finals, and lots of fun catching up with her. We've had her and popping in and on on air throughout the year, and my good buddy Chris Leone with Red Bull GRC, he pops on air, and it's kind of fun to get them both. You get two different takes on the series from two people that work for the series, and we're pretty lucky here at the Down and Dirty Radio Show to have such a great relationship with Red Bull Global Rallycross. I know myself, obviously, I've worked for them in the past. And just a great group of people, and one of my favorite series in motorsports. So, always look forward to having both Chris and Kristen and all the drivers on air. And, it's going to be great. Red Bull TV Wednesday. You want to tune in. Don't miss it. It's going to be off the hook. It's a crapshoot at this point. I have no idea who's going to win. If I had to pick two guys who I think are going to win, and we're talking a stacked field, but I would definitely I would say Tanner Faust, Ken Block are my two picks. If I can have two picks to win, it's either going to be Tanner or Ken Block who walks away with a victory. I think Scott Speed is so far out front. I mean, Tanner mathematically has a chance at the championship. But I just, I don't know if he's going to be able to catch Scott. I see Tanner or Block finishing in first, and I see Scott Speed like a fourth or a fifth maybe. But that's just me, my predictions. But there you go. So, Red Bull GRC finale coming up Tuesday, Wednesday. If you're in Vegas, get over there. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be an off-the-chain track, great storylines, lights, and supercars. It's just going to be amazing. And I got to give a shout-out to my boy Tanner Whitten at Dirtfish. I've been texting with him. He was going to be on air today. He's filming a commercial. We're going to have Tanner on air next Monday to recap the season of Lights. But I got to give him a shout out because he said he's had his choice, and he's like, I really don't want to come on today. I'm like, why? And he's like, I was like, we can kind of preview the event. And he's like, no. He's like, I want to come on air after I win. So Tanner Whitten laying down the gauntlet. I got to say, he's had a great year, taking some victories. He's been right up there in the fight. So Tanner Whitten laying down the gauntlet in the lights. I got to throw my hat in the Tanner Whitten ring. Somebody that confident, he's going to be battling to the front. So, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk some Camp Razor, some Terracross. We got some interviews from Camp Razor out of Glamis. We've got Sarah Price, your Terracross champ in the ladies. We've got Ronnie Faisst, X Games legend. Cody Raiders, Lucas Oil champion. Just a ton of great interviews coming up. Brandon Sims, UTV World Championship winner. So all that and more coming up after the break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, as we kick off hour number 2. Stay tuned.
I'm Polaris rider Levi LaValle, and I choose Polaris just because they have the best quality, highest performing, most fun machines out there.
Only one company has taken Levi LaValle to 10 X Games medals, snowcross championships, a double backflip, and a world record long jump of 412 feet across the San Diego Harbor on New Year's Eve, and that company is Polaris. Whether it's dominating the X Games, racing a stock Polaris Razor XP1000 in the Terracross Championship, or just hitting the trail on the weekend, for over 20 years, Levi has relied on the same quality Polaris vehicles and products you can purchase at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of action sports legend Levi LaValle and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XD Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XD Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
American rock and roll legend Chubby Checker, the one and only, live at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Chubby Checker, live in the Blue Water Showroom, Saturday, November 21st. Don't miss Chubby Checker.
It's party time. Get up!
Tickets on sale now. $45 general admission, VIP $55. Online at BlueWaterFun.com or at the gift shop. Chubby Checker, live November 21st at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Looking to upgrade the brake system on your race car, pre-runner, or weekend toy? J-Mar Performance Brake Systems has you covered. An industry leader in performance braking systems, J-Mar can outfit your vehicle with the highest quality American-made calipers, rotors, master cylinders, hubs, turning brakes, and shifters for Volkswagens to trophy trucks and everything in between. For more information and their full product line, visit J-Mar on the web at jmarperformance.com or follow them on Instagram and Twitter at J-Mar Brakes. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. And, man, been a fun one so far. Packed a lot into the first hour of the show. Man, talking some XP1K3, RJ Anderson, Matt Martelli, Kristen Kenny from Red Bull GRC. And now we're going to switch gears, talk a little Terracross, Camp Razor, and I don't know. Who knows what else will come up. But, you know, it's funny talking with RJ, you know, and Matt, and talking about, you know, the stunts and tricks and gaps and whatever you want to call it, you know, in his XP Turbo. And I got to say, I mean, you know, now that I've been in Terracross and been around the Razor, the Razor family and brand for for a couple of years now. I got to tell you, man, I can't stress enough what RJ's doing is just insane. I mean, those jumps that he's doing and the gaps, I mean, not easy in a Razor. I mean, a lot of people go, if I had a Razor, I'd just go and huck it. And the skill level is definitely on point, especially when you get into trouble, knowing how to get out of it. But not only that, but just like Matt said, the balls to do the stuff that he does. I mean, I can tell you right now, I mean, I've got Razors at my disposal. I wouldn't attempt some of the stuff that RJ did. A lot of it I would, but some of it, I draw the line in the sand and go, no way. So definitely a lot of props to RJ for what he does in these films, and definitely looking forward to that dropping tomorrow. It's going to be can't miss. I don't know what you want to call it. I would say you don't want to say TV because it's not a TV show, but it's can't miss anyways. You definitely want to be locked and loaded into YouTube when that hits for sure. So. Yeah, but talking about Camp Razor, I mean, this is an event that just keeps blowing up each and every year. I've been out to every single Camp Razor since the beginning. I missed the very first year when they had it on New Year's. Been to every single one at Halloween time. And it definitely, each and every year, blows up, gets bigger. They bring more events. Started out as a small compound, and then it grew to a bigger compound. Now it's 2 compounds. You've got the Razor compound, or the Camp Razor compound, and the Terracross compound. It's just bigger. This thing just keeps blowing up. I mean, it's crazy. Now you've got other manufacturers trying to play copycat and bring their little compounds out there. Nowhere near the size of the Camp Razor compound, but they're trying, and I guess that's cute. So that's me wearing the Razor hat, but yeah, there you go. But no, I mean, Camp Razor, I mean, it's a little bit of everything. I don't know what other place where they're going to allow you to drive brand new turbos through the dunes and thrash on them. I mean, literally thrash on them. It's pretty wild. But yeah, and like I said, Polaris, they gave me a brand new XP Turbo, told me to go out in the dunes and and thrash on it and give them a full report. I got to tell you, unreal. I got on that thing and was going down the sand highway. Those of you who haven't been to Glamis don't know what sand highway is. It's straight as an arrow, and it's sandy, and it's these huge whoops, right? And I'm on that thing, and I immediately get into the gas, and that thing squatted in the rear and took off like I was shot out of a cannon, and I was just mobbing through the whoops. Like it felt like my trophy truck. Seriously. I've never had that feeling in anything other than my trophy truck. I got it in this new Razor XP Turbo. It was pretty insane. I mean, that thing just squatted in the rear and was wah, 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 going through the whoops, and I was, just an ear-to-ear grin on my face, and tons of fun out there. I mean, that thing's got more power than anybody should know what to do with, and people talking aftermarket stuff already, and I get it, put an exhaust on there. It's going to add a little horsepower and definitely going to sound better, and when you do that, you definitely want to go to my friends at Gibson Exhaust. But, past that, I really, I don't know what you need to do. Really don't know what you would need to do to one. There's the safety upgrades and this and that. I get that. But performance out of the engine, honestly, leave it. Don't touch it. These things are 140 plus horsepower out of the box. What more could you need in a UTV? Seriously. But Camp Razor, a ton of fun. And, and then Terracross, the finale, was just absolutely off the hook. I was only there for a day. I didn't get a chance to race. I had some other obligations. But I got to say, this track, those of you that follow Terracross, you guys know that the courses that they come up with, we've had the ones in San Diego. I've been to the one in Crested Butte. The Razor exhibition we did up there for Terracross was fun track. And then we go into the one in the one out there in San Diego, and that was huge Supercross style jumps. We go to Heydays in Minnesota. It was tight, technical. There were still some big jumps, but a little bit different. Charlotte, we had the Terracross Experience. It was a little bit smaller, but muddy and a ton of fun. And then you got the sand track out there, Glamis. New track at each venue. None of them cater well to anybody. It's just a ton of fun. And this one out there at Glamis was off the hook. Can't wait to see the NBC broadcast or the CBS Sports broadcast, excuse me. It's going to be awesome. But women's 2 rounds of racing, rounds 5 and round 6. Sarah Price winning both. Shelby Anderson taking second in both. Katie Vernola third in both. Sarah Price wrapping up the women's championship, and with the perfect season, I might add. Not perfect in the heat races, but perfect season. Sarah Price taking home the championship. Shelby Anderson second, and Katie Vernola rounding out your top 3. And, man, you can't say enough about Sarah Price. You look at her times all year long. She was running, times with the men. She is on point. She's on another level as far as racing these UTVs go. It comes from her motocross background, but, man, just an awesome season for Sarah Price. And then moving on to the men, Jason Luberg, he's been leading this championship. And, he's had some guys right down his throat, though, and he came through winning round 5. Cody Raiders taking home second, and Dana Creech in third. Dana, just an animal in a UTV, as well as Luberg. But 1, 2, 3 in round 5. And then moving on to round 6, Mitch Guthrie. Man, it's been an up and down year for him all year in Terracross, but taking home a win to cap things off. Cole Coutu getting ready to move on to snowcross season, but he threw his name in there and took home a second. And then Brandon Schuler in his first ever weekend of racing Terracross, got to give him credit, taking home a podium finish there in third. That Jagged X driver, Brandon Schuler, knows how to wheel these razors and showing his stuff there at Glamis. So your championship, it was Jason Luberg bringing it home in the men. R.J. Anderson right there in second. Mickey Thomas in third. And then Cody Raiders, Cole Coutu rounding out your top 5 to wrap things up in 2015. But, man, great year with Terracross. Bigger and better things coming in 2016. That's all I can say. This series is blowing up. I mean, you look down the list of names that have raced this year, not only in the women. I mean, you got my friend Jolene, sidekick Amy Hood, who's raced there, but man, it's just been off the hook. Luberg, taking home the win, but you look down things. I mean, Jason Ellis, you've got Twitch, Feist, LaValle. It's just a stacked field. But, yeah, right now we're going to get to some interviews I did out there at Camp Razor. Caught up with, just a ton of guys and ladies, Sarah Price, Joe Duncan, Feist, here's some raw interviews I did out there at Camp Razor. And, I think you're going to enjoy them. All right, we're catching up here with Cody Raiders out here at Terracross, the final rounds out at Glamis. How's everything going?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. Just got out here yesterday and pretty excited for some racing.
You get a chance to hit the track yet? I know out here at Camp Razor I was just doing a walk around on the track, and looks like a change up from everything else we've had this season.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot faster and got some bigger jumps to it, and I got to drive it yesterday and was able to hit everything, and it was pretty smooth, so I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah, I know you've been out here to Glamis quite a few different times for Camp Razor and that. So, what do you think this track's going to do over the course of, the weekend? You think it's going to get rutted up? I mean, wind's blowing right now. How do you think the sand's going to affect things?
Yeah, I think that the wind's going to take most of the moisture out of the track, and it's going to start rutting up pretty bad, and it'll be a little bit of follow the leader and then try to make passes on the inside-outside lines that they have, so...
Well, talking about your year, I know you've been doing some Terracross. You've been doing some other series. I mean, this kind of the finale, wrapping things up this year. I mean, how's this year been for you?
It's been good. I won my championship at Lucas Oil. It was my 4th championship in 3 years, so I was pretty happy about that. And then we're going to race Baja up here in November, so try that out.
Yeah, is that your first time going to be in a desert car?
Yeah, first time racing Baja, and pretty much the first desert racing I've done, so we're just going to go for the biggest one.
Yeah, for sure. What a way to start, right? Well, what are your predictions for this weekend out here at Camp Razor Terracross?
Have fun, make some laps, and just keep a cool head and have some fun.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Cody, and we'll catch up soon.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. We got Cole Coutu here. I know you've had some time to be out here on this track. It's definitely, talking with Cody, it's definitely a change up from some of the other Terracross tracks we've seen this year.
Yeah, we got out here last night, and there's a lot of big air. Usually we have kind of farther jumps, bigger jumps, but now it's big air, so that's pretty sweet. I love it.
Yeah, well, and I know, this year you're kind of been in there all year. I know non-points event, we were at Charlotte, but you walked away with a win there. Got to have you pretty excited coming in this final round.
Yeah, it gave me some more confidence. After we left Heydays, we didn't have the best results. I think I had pretty much 2 last places I broke right away, so that was a bummer. But then we went to Charlotte and was able to walk away with a win and gave me a little more confidence coming into the final round here at Camp Razor.
So, I know, right now we're kind of in the transition. You've been doing, a lot of razor racing and riding your, dirt bike over the summer, kind of getting ready to kickstart snow season. So, kind of in a transition. You guys have been getting the sleds ready and had any time on those?
No, we haven't been on the sleds yet, but we've been working on them. We got them about 2 weeks ago, and we've been tearing those down. So, truthfully, my head's kind of been in the snowcross world. But it's cool to get one more razor race in and come out here in this heat. When I left Minnesota, it was snowing, so it was kind of different getting off the plane in this heat.
Yeah, for sure. Wind blowing, sand everywhere, and and you're thinking about snowcross back in Minnesota, right?
Yeah, my head's kind of all over the place right now, but.
Well, I know, four wheels definitely, you've taken to that. You grew up kind of with the snowcross thing. I know we had you up at Dirtfish Rally School. You got to try that out. Obviously, the Razors. Are you looking to do some more four-wheel racing next year as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think we're going to be in the Razor for sure with Terracross, and I would like to make it back up to Dirtfish. I had so much fun there, and and I know I'll be on my dirt bike, so yeah.
All right. Well, good luck out there this weekend, and see if we can continue on the good stuff from Charlotte.
Thank you.
All right, catching up here out at Glamis Camp Razor, Brandon Sims. How's everything going, Brandon?
It's been awesome. We've been out here for a couple days. The weather came in today, so we're hanging out in the RVs today, just waiting for the weather to subside. But we've got some plans to do some practicing today for the Terracross event, so looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, how's Terracross going? I know, took a podium earlier this year. That had to feel good. I mean, I look at this lineup, and I think at some rounds we had close to 30 cars. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, the amount of competition out here.
Yeah, I know. They bring in everybody that's the best in every kind of sport that they're doing, and a lot of good guys out here. I've had a podium once, and then a couple close ones, but had some issues with the car that stopped me from getting that. But I think we're right now running in the top 5 in the points, so we're doing pretty good.
That being said, I mean, this track, I know the cool thing about Terracross, every venue we've been to has been a little bit different. I mean, this one, I'm looking at it. You're a desert guy. I mean, not quite the supercross style jumps. I mean, it's some big jumps, but, you think this track's going to cater to your driving?
Yeah, definitely. I've been trying to get into this style. I've always enjoyed hitting the jumps and stuff, even whether I'm riding around home or whatever it is. I've always been into hitting the jumps. So I've been really enjoying these Terracross events, and this one's definitely got some big jumps that I'm looking forward to. I was out doing some practicing last night on the track, and it was fun. All the jumps seemed to be able to be done, and they were all great jumps. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, talking about the desert side of things, I know you've had one heck of a year, winning the UTV World Championship. We've got another Best in the Desert round left. We've got Baja 1000 round. How are things looking for you? I know you're riding in the points in Best in the Desert.
Yeah, I'm, I think, a couple points out of the top 3. I have a good chance at being able to get those back at Henderson for the last round of the Best in the Desert series, so hopefully I can run a good race with that. I've got my new car out there, the new turbo car. Last race was my first race with it, and ran into a couple issues that weren't nothing serious, so hopefully this next Henderson race we can capitalize on the power of the new car and go for that top spot.
And how's that been switching over to the turbo? I mean, you guys, with the naturally aspirated cars, it was fighting for every extra horsepower you could get. You jump into this turbo, and it's like a bunch of power on demand, and you don't even have to work for it. I mean, how's that been?
Oh, it's really awesome. I've been enjoying the big, I noticed a huge difference is when my NA car, the naturally aspirated car, when I was going up the sand washes, it seemed like it just maintained the speed. It would get to 55 up a sand wash, and it would just maintain it. The new turbo car, I can continue to accelerate, 55, 60, 65 up a sand wash and drive it as fast as it wants to go. It's really not gotten to a point where I haven't been able to continue to accelerating. So the new power of this turbo car is awesome, and I can't wait to get everything dialed in it.
Awesome. Well, good luck out here this weekend, and we'll catch up soon.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.
All right, we got Sarah Price here, current points leader in the women's division. How's everything going, Sarah?
It's going really good. Stoked to be out here in Glamis. It's kind of like my hometown. I grew up here, so it doesn't get better than coming back to your roots. So it's going to, hopefully continue the winning streak here for rounds 5 and 6. It's hopefully that car just stays together. That's all I'm hoping for.
Well, and, that's what's cool about this. You're talking about being your home out here, and I think a lot of us spent some time in the dunes, but seeing this track they built out here, it's definitely different than San Diego and the Minnesota rounds for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot more sandy. I'm sure things are going to, not stay formed very easily. So I'm expecting things to get a little bit blown out. But, yeah, we were actually planning to come here for vacation, and then now we're racing. But, I'm still going to make time to go ride my dirt bike and go have some fun in the dunes. So.
Well, I know that being said, just heard an announcement here at the drivers' meeting. You got you and your boyfriend James back in again for 2016 Terracross. Got to be excited to already have a deal inked for next year.
Yeah, Terracross is really awesome. It doesn't get better than this. You just kind of show up and ride and drive, and it's amazing tracks, amazing people, amazing supporters and sponsors. So, this is really one of my main focuses. It doesn't get better than this in racing. So, of course, I want to be involved, and I'm glad to have Optimus Power Sports on board.
Yeah, well, and like I've learned this year, the TV package with this is phenomenal. Not a lot of off-road motorsports get TV that Terracross does.
Yeah, no, the TV package is definitely the key for all the supporters out here because racing off-road, we don't get a lot of exposure most of the time. And when you get TV, you got to take advantage of it, and your sponsors want to take advantage of it because, we're all out here trying to make a living as well and have a good time at doing that.
Well, I know, Lucas' season wrapped up. This is a wrap-up for Terracross. What do you have going on this winter heading into next year?
Yeah, I just finished Lucas, actually, and I sold my car, and I ended the series in third, had 2 breaks, but I'm pumped with the podium spot. And then next year, we're Factory Kawasaki once again. Me and Erica, the Terrex girls, are going back to King of the Hammers this year. This will be our first time ever doing something like that, so that'll be new. And then we're going to Africa for the Rally Aishide Gazelles. And as well as I'm driving the Toyota Vescandido Scion FRS in the Street Series next year, as well as Terracross.
Well, it's got to have you pretty excited. Be able to run, run some Kawasaki's, run some Razors. Run some, some cars, just a bit of everything, mixing your dirt bike, and lots of fun, right?
Yeah, always a good time. Anything with horsepower, I'm happy. So.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Sarah. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, we got Ronnie Faisst here, getting ready to finish up the 2015 Terracross Championship. How's everything been going this year for you?
Yeah, everything's been going pretty good. Just raced Lucas Oil Series last weekend in Pro Light, and out here in Glamis for this. So been having some fun driving some 4-wheel stuff.
Yeah, I know we were just talking, before we kind of cut on air, but it seems like short courses, Terracross, racing Razors, everything seems like there's a learning curve, with everything. How's it been with you coming over from 2 wheels, transitioning to 4?
It's definitely a learning curve. At the end of the day, it's not a dirt bike. It's got 2 extra wheels, but it's been fun. It's been a challenge. You know what I mean? We pretty much started slow and everything, and we just been chipping away at it. We're moving forward little by little, so that's how I got to look at things. At the end of the day, it's like as long as I'm progressing, then that's what matters. And, we got better all year in the Pro Light. We got better all year at Terracross. So just going to stick with it, and this winter focus on just driving and getting the Pro Light working better, and then come out next year and hopefully, race the majority of the Lucas Oil Series, and then hopefully race the whole series of this again.
Nice. Well, mixing in stuff. I know you're still on your bike quite a bit. It's going to keep you pretty busy next year.
Oh, yeah. I like staying busy, though. I'm so antsy and just jittery type of dude. It's like I can't sit still, so being busy is good for me.
That's me. I sit on the couch, and I'm there for longer than about 30 minutes. I got to get up and walk around the house or something just because I can't sit, right?
Yep. I get on the phone. I just burn laps around the house while talking on the phone.
Nice. So, looking at this track out here, it's definitely a change of pace from what we've seen, in Minnesota and Charlotte and, there in San Diego. What do you think about this, this kind of sand dune setup?
Actually, I didn't kind of know. I've never drove a Razor in the sand before, and I went out yesterday in practice, and first practice, I was like, whoa, I forgot. I'm like, man, these things, they're loose. They're all over the place. And, jumping out of the Pro Light, a couple days ago and then jumping in that, it took me like 3 laps to kind of get things together, and then I've really started to feel good, and I like the sand. I had a lot of fun yesterday, felt good on the track, and so that's what I'm saying. I kind of feel like this is the last round of the year, and it kind of took me all 3 rounds to kind of figure stuff out, but I feel better at this one than I did at the rest, so I'm kind of pumped. Hopefully we can see what happens. Hopefully get a good result.
Finish the year out with a good one and give you some momentum heading into next year, right?
Yeah, that would be good. I'd like to try to maybe get a heat race win and get a solid finish in the main. And, that's all. Dude, that's all it takes sometimes is a little confidence booster. One good finish and then, get the confidence up and then things start to fall into place.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Ronnie, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you, dude.
All right, catching up here with Joe Duncan, the man behind Terracross. out here at Camp Razor. I mean, this is a pretty amazing venue you got set up here, Joe.
You know, I can't thank Camp Razor and Polaris enough for having us out here. You know, last minute program. We put our heads together, and between Polaris and Six Speed and even Mystic Lubricants, just everybody coming together to make things work for everybody. A lot of our racers and drivers already out here. As you know, we've all been coming here for a couple of years, and some of the guys have been coming to Glamis forever. This is their stomping grounds. So to come where kind of the Razor XP 1000 was designed for and built for, and these guys do the ride and drives and the new Razor 4-seater turbo. It's just amazing to be a part of this out here.
Yeah, you know, and I know all the drivers, I mean, excited on being out here and looking at 2016. I mean, everybody's amped, you know, trying to get their deals put together to come back. I mean, you know, this championship, when you started it, I know you had a vision, you know, but, you know, here we are a couple years in. I mean, did you ever have any idea? I mean, I look at the names that, you know, we've had run in 2015, and, I mean, it's the who's who of action sports. And looking at 2016, I know there's even some bigger names coming in.
Yeah, again, it's all about the people that we work with, guys like yourself. I mean, it's not about what we do; it's about how we do it and who we do it with. And from our partners right down to the athletes, and we work together. And together, we come up with plans that work. Signed already some major partners for next year, and those major partners are also signing on board the athletes. So we're looking so good, and we have our new release of our classes for next year, and we're working with Polaris on options of what we can do with vehicles and what vehicles out there. It's just we couldn't ask for much more right now, other than some non-windy, sandy weather out here in Glamis. But other than that, we're looking great.
Yeah, the track looks absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you guys have pulled out some awesome tracks. I mean, it seems like, you know, San Diego was great. You know, Heydays was an amazing track. And, you know, here we are out here. And it's, you know, it seems like you guys just, you know, keep getting better and better each venue. It's pretty awesome.
Honestly, this one kind of scared us. None of our crew really has worked with sand, or at least not this much sand for a single track build. And water's an issue out here. And thanks to Glamis Beach Store and Tim Gantz and their whole crew, and being able to put this stuff together, and we're able to build an amazing track. Our course builders, Jason and Hubert and Dana, have really knocked this one out of the park. And I'll be honest, I didn't think we would have this great of a course coming into this event. But that first practice we did out there with almost a 60-foot double and a drop-in hole pit, it's amazing. And it even excites me because I really didn't think we'd have it. I figured it'd be some sand whoops and some tabletops and some anthills, and we'd go racing. And, of course, throw the Mystic Mangler in there with the tires, and we'd be racing. But really, they've done a great job and really got creative with the track on how to make the faces of the jump stay and be able to pull stuff off. So excited and ready to get this racing started.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Joe. I know it's going to be a great race weekend, and not only that, I mean, Camp Razor going on. It's a lot for everybody out here, that's for sure.
Yeah, rounding out our championship here under the Musco lights and being ready to really knock this thing out of the park. And, again, not only are we wrapping up a championship now, we're already planning for 2016, and our women's class is full. I don't know if, thanks to you and all your connections, our women's class is full, and we have a 10 field of women for next year set to go. We have our men's class is almost full next year. We kind of lowered the number of men's, and we're going to have a few surprises for a couple other classes we're pulling out. And, of course, the hero class is coming back. We have some of our great vets and military heroes coming out, along with our hero ambassador, Paul Thacker, to come out and do some dicing in the sand tomorrow. And we got some big news on the hero class for next year as well.
Awesome. All good things. Looking forward to some great racing this weekend. And, you know, congrats to you on an amazing series and, you know, wrap up this championship.
Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks for being a part of it, and thanks to all the listeners and fans out there. And we got some great racers, and hopefully they hammer down for next year. Here we go.
All right, good catching up with everybody. I mean, it gives you kind of a feel, a lot of interviews out there from Camp Razor and Glamis, and a lot of it packed into a short segment, but figured, felt like we needed to kind of put some closure onto the whole Camp Razor Terracross experience, and there we had Women's Champ and Joe and everybody kind of talking about the event and stuff, so all good stuff, but right now we are going to take a short break. We come back, Amy Hood's going to be calling in, and I know we're going to talk a little Nitro Circus, maybe some Halloween, and a lot of two-wheel action when we return here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris driver Jim Beaver. I host the Down and Dirty Radio Show, travel the country announcing motorsports events, and I compete against some of the toughest drivers in the world in my number 15 trick truck in the Best in the Desert Championship. I know what it takes to survive Baja and races like the Mint 400 or Vegas to Reno, and that is reliability. When I choose to train, pre-run, or just take my family out to the desert or dunes on the weekend, I trust Polaris Razor products exclusively. I need the absolute best performing vehicles that I know will get me back safe, fast, and without any problems. The only vehicle on the market that I know will do this is the Polaris Razor. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full lineup of Polaris Razor vehicles at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle. Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance, rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZ, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Man, it's been another fun one today. Hopefully you Arizona listeners got the right time. Everybody else in the country did. That's right, Arizona, the one state that doesn't celebrate the whole daylight savings time. So I'm an Arizonan, so we accommodate 49 other states with the airing of the show and kind of throw Arizona under the bus. So it's 10 o'clock start time here, where it's normally 9 o'clock start time. But anyways, hopefully you Arizonans caught it. I know the other 49 states sure did. But it always seems like I get some kind of message on social media from somebody about the show, and when we make the switch twice a year, and I missed it, what's going on, or I missed the first half, and it's I don't know, there's always some kind of shenanigans. I hate the whole 1 hour change with daylight savings. I think it's garbage. Just let's have the same time all year round. Forget about moving the clocks. I don't think it's that big of a deal anymore anyways. I don't know. I think there's a time and place in this country where it was. Now it's out the window. I think it's, it was meant to originally, where, people had work during the daylight and they didn't have to worry about it getting dark. I don't know. People, I just think it's garbage. I'm sure there's somebody somehow that's making money off of the whole daylight savings thing, and that's how it originally happened. I know it's not me, so I just assume it go away, to be honest with you. So there you go. But my rant for the day. But now that my rant is over, I think it's time for a little Amy Hood.
Now, where the hood at? You better bust that if you don't pull that. Where the hood at?
Hey, Amy, another Monday, and you are in the house. What's happening?
Hey, what's going on? Happy post-Halloween?
Yeah, you survive. I saw the pictures of, I don't know quite what you were. It looked like a cross between a zombie and something from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, I don't know. Every year, like I tell you, I'm the zombie something or another, and I just have, all leather on. And for me, Halloween, I love doing makeup, okay? So I like to kind of test out my artistic skills, and I just like to do some type of cool little makeup. And, you kind of see what the trend is going on. Last year, it was the Nightmare Before Christmas zombie face. The year before that, it was the Day of the Dead makeup. And this year, it's like that kind of skull mouse, like the teeth and all that weird, creepy stuff. So that's what I did. And then I went out with my friend as well, and then I decided that I'm like, hey, if I'm going to paint your face too, let me test out my skills. So, yeah, basically I just want to, do people's makeup on Halloween and see. That's the funnest part about Halloween, honestly, is getting ready. I was really, really disappointed. I had so much candy, and I had about 10 kids show up at my door because it was raining here. And so I just kept giving these kids, handfuls of candy, and they were so pumped. But, no, I was really disappointed. And then we got to this party, and there's, supposed to be tons of people, and there was, 10 people also. So, kind of the highlight of my Halloween was getting ready and, doing all the makeup and stuff. So, I mean, whatever.
Oh, you
so disappointed.
You are missing out. Everybody laughs, but so the street I live on, I live a couple blocks from our race shop, right? And it's the hot place to trick-or-treat in our town. It's close to one of the parks, and the fire department always does something there for the kids during Halloween. So our street, literally, every kid in town comes there. So I don't give out candy at my house. The race shop, we all go to the race shop. Everybody in town knows where it's at. So we set up at the race shop, right? Put on spooky music and kind of decorate stuff or whatever. And every kid in town comes there, and we literally get thousands of kids over to our race shop. My parents bought a couple $100 worth of candy, and it was all gone.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's so sick.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, literally, our whole street is like madness, to the point where the town needs to start giving the people money for candy because it's costing us that much.
No doubt.
Yeah,
that's so funny. But no, I was a little depressed because this is my first year as a new homeowner. I decorated my house. I had tons of pumpkins. I carved a pumpkin with my friend, and then Ashley came over and we carved more pumpkins.
And it was pretty funny. I had this drunken pumpkin who was like puking his guts out. I'm sure everybody has seen that. But my dad put a wine bottle in his eyeball, and he had a bunch of beer bottles around him. And I had actually a few kids who were like, "Excuse me, miss, can I take a picture of your pumpkin?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can." And then actually, I heard some of the kids like walking up to my door. And I had just finished my face paint, and so before they could like ring the doorbell and yell trick or treat, I like opened the door and I'm like, yeah! And they're just like freaked out. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. So yeah, next year hopefully I have more kids. But again, it was raining. It was a pretty crappy night out for the kiddies. But yeah, I can't wait to have my own little kitty. I saw this hilarious photo of this like 2-year-old kid dressed up as a porcupine, and he was wearing like a full headdress, like it looked like an Indian tribal headdress, but it was a porcupine costume, and oh my god, it was hilarious. But I can't wait to have a kid to totally like ruin his life and dress him up as something ridiculous. But yeah that's the goal.
Well, I think from what I understand, the key to getting kids to your house is a haunted house. So I think you need to set up some kind of haunted something outside.
I know.
I can't believe you're not all in on that deal.
I was, but it's just kind of hard when it's raining, it's really cold, and this was kind of my first show to see like what you were gonna have, like how many kids I was gonna have, and my neighborhood is pretty crawling with kids. And my parents used to get a ton, and in the last couple of years it just dropped off to like 10, 20 kids. But this year they got about 50. But yeah, no, it's kind of hard here because it's also hit and miss in Canada. Every other Halloween it's either snow, rain, or sunshine. So I didn't really know what year we were going to get, whether it was going to snow outside because it was raining the last couple of days too. So that can turn to snow pretty quickly here. But yeah, and also it's expensive. Okay, it's expensive for one day to like totally deck out your house in like a haunted house theme, and to have 10 kids show up. Like, I'm a poor girl on a budget. Okay, I'm an aspiring motocross professional racer, and we ain't made of money, that's for sure. I'm living on a broke girl budget.
Yeah, I can get it, man. Halloween can get out of control in a hurry if you let it. But other than Halloween, I know you guys had a little traveling tour called Nitro Circus up in your neck of the woods. How was that? I got to ask you because we had all this hype. We talked about it. How was it?
Oh, it was amazing. What a show. Such a cool experience, I'm sure, for everybody who was involved and there and hanging out and stuff. It was really cool, obviously, for me because I got the whole backstage experience. So I got to see everybody getting ready and getting pumped up, and all the wardrobe changes with Tommy and the MCs. And the MCs really do like such a fantastic job. Like, holy smokes, they're true professionals. I don't know how they have a voice week in to week out. Every show they are on it for 2 hours straight, full tilt, wide open, like kind of screaming at the top of their lungs. Like, it was so cool, and it was really awesome. I got to kind of come out at the VIP experience and like throw some T-shirts out and to the crowd, and then they were nice enough to include me in the Canada versus US segment where I got to come out and run on stage with a big Canadian flag and just kind of support my local Manitoba Canadian shipness here. So that was really nice, and I really appreciate them for including me. But no, we talked about it before. We had Bruce on, a couple of days before the show. But, Bruce Cook truly stole the show with his backflip. I know everybody was kind of waiting for it, but Snapchat was just going off. The Twitter was going off, and Instagram. Everybody was taking pictures and videos of Bruce Cook and his backflip, and it's just so inspiring. And everybody was talking about it. All my friends and family just, oh my God, did you see Bruce? And like, yeah. So his backflip really did steal the show. And my favorite part had to be the crazy train. So when all the athletes come out and just flip and do tricks like one after another, and they just say like, here's the crazy train, and they pull the horn, and they all come out. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness, is someone going to hit the other person? Are they going to land on each other? That's really, really cool. They do this three riders in a row, 3 rows deep backflips. So it's like, oh my goodness, you don't even expect it coming in. But wow, what a true athletes That's all I can say. Just spectacular. It was so sick.
Yeah, well, it's like I've always said. I'm like, how are people like, how is it? What do I expect? I'm like, it's like an X Games best trick every single night, competition. It's just nutty. I mean, they pull out stuff that it's just crazy.
And then they have the motorcycle section, and then they have the jump anything, whatever section, the miscellaneous.
Wheelbarrows and just whatever, you know.
And they have these guys jumping like clown scooters, like, those tricycles that are really, really high up. And you don't even think it's possible to jump it, never mind go and backflip it. And, no, it's really, really cool how they actually show highlights of previous shows. And, if there's been a mishap, if they've tried one of these contraptions before and, crashed or whatever. And it's really cool how they play the highlights of previous shows, and then you're like, oh, my goodness, are they going to make it? But something else, sorry, I mean, I'm getting all off topic. There's so many cool things on the show. They do a 4-person backflip. Like, really? I didn't even know that was possible. They go and they have one rider, and then they get 3 people to climb on board, and they do a 4-person backflip. Come on. What is that? It's just crazy. They're crazy.
Everything about it is. It's like I told you. I was lucky enough to go a couple of years ago when they came to Phoenix, and I get to go here in another week, I think it is, and I'm just amped. Like, it's my daughter. It's the day before her birthday, and that's all she can talk about. Addie, what do you want for your birthday? I want to go to Nitro. That's all she can talk about is Nitro Circus. I mean,
awesome.
It's funny. Like, I'm as excited as my 6-year-old daughter, so that tells you what kind of show Nitro Circus is. Like, literally, it doesn't matter if you're 5 years old or 95 years old, you can enjoy it.
And it's really action-packed the whole time. Like, you're wondering how for 2 hours straight they can put on a live show. Like, really, I was just kind of waiting to see how that all went down, were there going to be pauses, how it all worked out. But they do such a fantastic job of keeping the momentum going the whole time, and the excitement just builds and builds. And, there's never a dull moment. Whether, when they're taking a little break, they bring all these kids from the crowd up, and they have dance contests, and they show, clips of circus things. Like, it's really, really cool. Like, it's such a cool show. I was thoroughly, thoroughly impressed. And, I'm an athlete as well. I'm not just a spectator, and I was stoked and pumped on it the whole time. Never mind someone who doesn't know anything about it, who's just going for entertainment. Anybody, any age can be really, really entertained by this show. It was so sick.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm glad you got to experience it. And I know, I think last night, I've been kind of in a social media hole. I guess I'm not catching up because I've been working on the show. But I think Bruce was in his hometown last night. So kind of anxious to find it. Yeah, I'm kind of anxious to see, it's kind of like his return home, so to speak. So I'm kind of excited to see how that went over in Vancouver. But I'm sure it was just off the chain.
Oh, obviously. I mean, again, like I said, I almost feel like Bruce stole the show, but the crowd was just amped to see him pull out a backflip. So, yeah, it was rad.
Yeah. So what's happening in the world of two wheels? I haven't been catching up with anything Supercross, motocross related. I know we're in the middle of silly season. Anything popping?
Yeah, no, not much right now. I know a lot of there's the Australian Supercross going on where Jimmy Dakotas, local, Boston American guy, has been cleaning up. I think he's won 3 rounds of 3 so far, so that's great for him. But there's always a couple oddball Supercrosses around the globe, usually over in Europe, where a lot of the American guys kind of go to either test bikes, test a new team, kind of get everything all sorted, or sometimes just go to prove that, they're the ones on top and they're the guys to beat coming up to the new 2016 series. But there was a Sofia Supercross going down in Bulgaria, where I know Weston Pike won a moto, and then Justin Brayton won a moto. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome for Justin. I mean, he is pushing it up there. He's kind of almost to that vet category, where he's been doing it for a long time, and he's slowly, these last couple of years, been really getting into his prime, and we've just seen a whole different Justin Brayton out there every season. So, he had a really strong outdoors season. So I think coming into 2016 Supercross, he's going to be a top 450 rider competing for that top 3 position. But I know it was between Weston Pike, Malcolm Stewart, and Justin Brayton. Those were the 3 dominant riders over in Bulgaria. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all right now. It's kind of a lull. People are just getting comfortable with new teams, new setup, and just getting ready for that, first round in January at A1. So,
to me, it's like it's coming up quick.
It is, definitely.
It seems like, honestly, it seems like you and I were just in Minnesota, and here we are. It's literally like 2 months later. It's winter time. Snowcross is getting ready to kick off, and we've got Supercross literally getting ready to kick off. It's like, I don't know. It seems like this year's going by fast.
We have 2 more months, though. We have 2 months, and the reason it seems it comes up so fast is because everybody kind of flies under the radar. We don't hear a lot about anything with the top few guys like Martin and Roxon. Everybody kind of keeps a low profile, kind of coming up to that opening round. So it seems like time flies because there's not much going on. But no, I'm really interested to see what happens at A1. It's always one of those races where it's anybody's game. There's rookies who come up who surprise the heck out of everybody, and then there's that battle in the 450 and who's the strongest, most fittest man of them all. Who's going to be the king of Supercross this year? I'm pretty excited. I really do think Ken Roxon is going to be the guy to beat. I think he has one up on Ryan Dungey. That's what I think. That's who I put my money on this season so far. So
we
obviously seen a completely different Ken Roxon at Straight Rhythm and Monster Cup. He was just so consistent and so dominant, and he's riding so much with way more maturity. He's been kind of that young gun for a while now, but he's had a couple years in the 450s, and I think he's kind of figured it all out and put the missing pieces of the puzzle together. So,
yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, Dungey, I never count him out.
No,
he's not the excite. I don't want to call him not exciting. I mean, because he's so good. But he's, like last year we saw him. I mean, literally the first couple of rounds, it seemed like, he's always there in the top 5 and, right around the podium. But it was like it took him till mid-season. Then it was like, switch went off and he caught fire and he was just shot out of a cannon. But,
he's also a really, really smart rider. I mean, he knows not to blow it the first couple rounds and, just hang it all out there and get hurt and screw up the rest of the season because it's such a long Supercross season for the 450s. But, he was extremely aggressive. I mean, Dungey was riding with a lot of aggression last year, I think. But I just feel like there's so many other riders with something else to prove. And, Dungey's been there, done that kind of thing, and these other guys just, he's been the guy to beat. So all these other people have to kind of develop a program around beating Ryan Dungey. So, Ryan doesn't really have a benchmark. I mean, he is the benchmark.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that being said, let's talk about James Stewart for a minute. I don't know that he can stay healthy the whole season. Let's throw a little side bet out between you and I. How many wins is James Stewart going to take this year?
3.
3? I was going to say 2. So I think he's going to be ridiculously fast, and he's going to take some wins. I think you'd said it a couple weeks ago. He's just so. He's so, I don't want to say volatile, but he's so on the pipe. He's either going to win or what, I like to say. He's either going to finish in first or 20th.
Talks about is that's what everyone's talking when you think he would figure it out by now by having all this time off and know that about himself is that he's either all in or all out. Either he's chasing that number 1 spot or he's crashed out and doesn't even finish the race. He's a DNF. So we should almost put a bet out there. How many races do you think James Stewart is going to DNF? I would say 2 races he's going to DNF. And that's being nice, I think, personally. Where you don't see any of these other riders have a DNF, but I think I would give 2 DNFs to James Stewart in 2016 Supercross.
I can definitely see that, if he stays healthy the whole season, that's a big if. He's, I don't know. You wish a little Ryan Dungey would rub off on James Stewart. Just tone it back just a notch. You know what I mean? Just a tiny hair, and I think he would factor into the title hunt. It's just I don't know. I mean, he's a once in a lifetime talent. It's just he's nuts.
If he can calm himself and not go after every single win, which he does, obviously, but if he can just try to play that consistent game like Ryan Dungey does, where he's like a locomotive and he kind of turns it on mid to end of the season, maybe then we would see him actually be able to carry out a full season. But, he's balls to the wall from day one, from that first race in Anaheim, that he's really, really inconsistent. I don't think he's really learned how to just kind of keep that honest pace of top three and consistency every round, where that helps you out for that overall championship. It's such a long race and a long battle. He just has to go out and win every race, where that's not how you win a championship, really.
Yeah. Well, and I think, it's like the veterans learn. Sometimes you show up to an event and you just don't have the truck, or you don't. Well, I'm talking off road, but you just don't. In Supercar, you just don't have the bike to win. Whether it be the track is not, favored towards your riding style, or there's just something, there's a setup issue with your bike that you weren't ready for. Like sometimes you just show up and it's not your weekend, so you just salvage as many points as possible and move on to the next one. But it's like James, sometimes he'll never admit that. It's like, I still have a chance to win, and and it's I don't know. He puts himself into some bad spots.
No, I agree, definitely.
So, I don't know. It should be an interesting season. I'm sure silly season will get even more exciting here in the coming weeks. But what's up next for you? I know, obviously, your bike went back to Honda. You got anything on tap? Some ice riding, huh?
Nothing. I mean, right now it's such a lull. Kind of have my last pick if I can the other week there. I rode my dad's 450, but right now I'm just waiting for some ice. We usually start to get ice around December, so... I have like a month before I do anything. So now it's just kind of like, kick it in the gym, stay healthy, stay fit, because you never know when you're going to get the opportunity to go ride down south or something. But I'm going to try to put some cool video projects together, maybe head to California and do some cool media stuff. So this is kind of my time of year where I don't have to think about dirt bikes, because, I'm on it from January to November, basically, and then it's like, cool, I get 2 months off. Yes, let's do it.
Nice. All right. Well, we will definitely catch up with you next Monday, and
Sounds good.
Yeah, lots popping this week with SEMA and a bunch of other stuff, and should I don't know. We'll have to get together, get some fun guests booked up the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, definitely, we'll do that.
Awesome. All right. Thanks a lot, Amy, and we'll talk soon.
Take it easy. Bye.
Bye. All right, that was Amy Hood calling in and talking a little Supercross and Halloween and a little of everything. But we got a lot coming up this week. Obviously, SEMA, Global Rallycross finale there in Vegas, Stadium Super Trucks finale there in Vegas as well, and Baja 1000 qualifying happening in Vegas also. So a ton of stuff. Going into a ton of stuff going into this week. We're going to have a ton to talk about next week. Lots of awesome guests already lining up. Do want to make mention our good friends at Rigid Industries. They teamed up with my Rigid Nation teammate BJ Baldwin and dropped. They got a contest going on called BJ's Midnight Ride. They launched a new line of lights tied in with BJ Baldwin, kind of a midnight edition Rigid Industries light. They've got a contest going on tied in with BJ Baldwin. Check out Rigid Industries social media. They've got all those details. Definitely want to get in on that. Got to give a big shout out to Polaris Razor, General Tire, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish Rally School. And those of you wanting to head up to Dirtfish Rally School, check out my website or the show's website, downanddirtyshow.com. And we got those coupon codes there available on all of our back episodes. Just click on any of the back episodes. It'll take you to that page, and there it's got a link and a coupon code to get 10% off any of your classes at Dirtfish. UPR.com, Blue Water Resort and Casino, JMR Performance Brakes, KMC Wheels, Parker Motor Company, Gibson Exhaust, MTX Audio, the official audio partner of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Talking of MTX, I've got my SEMA Razor build going to be on display in the MTX audio booth. If you're heading out to SEMA, definitely go over there and check out the Down and Dirty Radio Show Razor at MTX, and tell them Jim Beaver sent you. And it's a cool build. We're going to have a lot of features on that coming up, and it's going to be a lot of fun, man. And I've been sitting in meetings on 2016 for the past 2 weeks, and I got to tell you, things are going to be off the hook for this show next year. If you're a fan of the show, we got a lot of good stuff coming your way, so hang tight. Give me a follow at JimBeaver15 on Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, and I guess Snapchat. Now I've got one of those. Haven't figured out how to work it, but we're working on it. And don't forget to follow at AmyHood71 on Instagram and Twitter. Facebook.com/DownandDirtyShow or DownandDirtyShow.com for all our back episodes. Also have an app available on Apple, iTunes, Google Play, and the Amazon Kindle store. Be sure and download that app for your mobile device. And man, it's been a fun show, and it is SEMA week, GRC week, SST week, Baja 1000 qualifying week, so it's going to be a packed show next Monday. We are back here in the house once again next Monday on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. You guys have a great week, and as always, game on.